So I was able to clear up about 3.18 gigabytes of data on my phone. So I should be able to make a full video in hopefully in one try, and I won't have to worry about running out of space. Alright, so quick recap. The film Coraline is a film that is a stop motion film that came out around 2009. Centered around a girl named Coraline, and her family moved from Michigan to Oregon to an apartment called the Pink Palace, which is a giant pink apartment. It looks really nice. And Coraline, when she gets there, when they start moving in and get mostly settled in, she starts looking around the place, you know, and she stumbles on a cat. Then right after that, she finds a well. She doesn't realize she's found a well, but she has. And then there's this black kid named Wyborn, but he's called Wybie. Hell kind of nickname is that? And he attacks her for no real reason at all whatsoever. And she asks him where the well is. He tells her she's standing on top of it. Then he tells her a rumor in regards to the well. The rumor is that it's so deep, if you fell to the bottom and looked up, you would see a sky full of stars in the middle of the day. That line is the single most important line of this film. I want you to remember it, or at least try to. Alright, after that she drops a pebble directly into the well, and it immediately starts to rain. That's also important. She tells her mother that she almost fell into the well. Her mother doesn't seem to care very much. It's still raining out, so she asks if she can garden, because she thinks that's perfect weather for gardening. Might help the plants grow quicker or something like that. Her mom says no, despite the fact that that's actually the reason they moved there, was to do gardening stuff for their catalog or whatever the hell. And also there was a sort of a deleted scene here. I'm just going to talk about it because it sort of shows what the writer's intentions were. Her mom had like a cup of coffee and like a spider went into it and then came back out. That doesn't seem very important, but it might be important later. So she leaves. Well, before she leaves, her mother tells her that the neighbor, Wybie, left something on their doorstep. The thing that he left on the doorstep was a doll that looked exactly like Coraline. Then, right after that, she goes into her father's office room. I don't know what the hell it is. He's on his computer, and she asks him. Coraline asks him if she can go out, and then he asks what her mom said. He refers to his wife as the boss. Disgusting, I know. And she says that her mom said no, and so he also says no, and that she is still bored, so he tells her to fuck off. He doesn't use that exact terminology, but it's basically the idea. He tells her to go list everything that's blue and count all the doors and windows. So she goes, she does that, and she finds this tiny door, and it's locked. So she asks her mother to open it. Her mother opens this drawer full of keys. And in that drawer, she finds a very strange looking key. It's black. It looks like it's made out of plastic. And, the part that you hold with your fingers is shaped like a button. So she uses it. She opens up the tiny door. And it opens up to a brick wall. And then later, I could just skip to it. The last scene was just like about her parents not being able to cook. And, so she goes to bed without eating. Thank God, because if she did eat, she'd probably have some sort of food poisoning. And there was a mouse, a tiny mouse. It woke her up. She chased it out of the room, and it led her all the way back down to the tiny door. And when she opened the tiny door, it was like this blue and purple portal. You could hear did it make a noise? It moved. The portal itself moved like it was breathing. It was very strange. And then, when she came out at the other end of the portal, she smelled something she probably hadn't smelled in a very long time. That being the smell of good food. She went into the kitchen and she saw her mother. But when her mother turns around, she sees that it's not actually her mother. Because her mother doesn't have buttons for eyes. That's what this lady has. It's her mom, except with buttons for eyes and a cheery disposition. Then she goes and meets the other mother, as she refers to herself. And she also purports that every other person has an other mother, which we'll get to later. And she says that dinner is ready and that she should get her other father so that he can come in and eat. Then she goes in the other room. She sees the other father, and the other father's like sitting at a piano, just like poking at the keys because he doesn't really know how to play. Coraline tells him that supper is ready. They go, they eat. Eat. Coraline doesn't finish her food. It makes me mad. It's probably the only thing about the movie that I don't like. And what else? What else happens? And right after that, she thinks that her actual parents will start to worry. So they take her up. They took her in. And then she wakes up back in her regular house. Now that's actually really important. Another detail that's also really important, well actually there's another detail I actually skipped over. The well that I mentioned earlier has a circle of mushrooms around it. That's an important detail. I'll get to that later. And when she wakes up, there's a chair. There's a chair right next to her bed. And that's where she set the doll that Wybie left on the doorstep when she went to bed. And as it fades in, because it's like a fade, one of those fade transitions they do in movies, the other mother is sitting in the chair, but then it fades back to the real world, and the doll is sitting in the chair. That's important. Okay. So, she tells her parents, and of course they're not entirely interested, so they go tell the completely insane neighbors downstairs. There's like two old ladies. They used to be like performers, like acrobats. And their names are Spink and Forcible. Forcible, like rape. That's a weird pun to have in a kid's movie, but hey, he's Neil Gaiman. He can get away with it. And, apparently they're also supposed to be like a couple. Hey. It wasn't anything like weirdly forced or anything like that, so I'm fine with it. And, so she talks to them, and, I think this is the scene where, they serve her tea. And, one of the ladies, Spake, she's like short and fat, has sort of a darker complexion, and has red hair. They're both old, by the way, really old. The other one is taller, paler, and has giant tits. Yeah, and she reads the tea. The lady with the red hair, Spank. That's the other one's Forcible. And she warns Coraline that she is in very terrible danger. When you look at the tea, you see like a clawed hand. Right? I watched this movie like a lot, so I can basically list all of the events just straight from memory. Okay, what else? Well, one second. I need to see if I'll actually be able to share this. Wait, the button doesn't seem to be working. Alright. That's a little annoying.